Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes?
I have a solution for you.
Really?
If you know sabi cook the banga, you're not going to enter my family.
Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga efo riro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extracts for tasty African cuisine.
Well, let's take the conversation from different aspects now. We have Mr. Ogubi. Yusuf Ogubi is head product restructuring or structuring and origination effects Nigeria. He joins us via the telephone now. Thank you, Mr. Yusuf, for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's nice to be here.
Yes. So Russia, it's one of Nigeria's top sources for imported items, especially food items. Weight is there. So Nigeria imported about 800 goods worth over 800 billion naira in 9-month period between January and September last year, representing about 3.7% of Nigeria's total import in the same period. So, but the recent invasion by Russia has led to various sanctions by the Western economies. So, let's get your opinion on these. Do you think this will affect our trade relations in any way, especially with Russia?
I wouldn't say it affects our trade relations with Russia from a broad perspective, because Nigeria has a neutral standpoint when it comes to our foreign policy in situations like this. But then there are multiple sanctions on Russia, some of which, most of which Nigeria is also obliged to also comply with. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, logistics out of Russia itself has become quite difficult, if not impossible, in the past few days, with virtually all the major shipping lines cancelling their trips to and from Russia. So it even makes it practically impossible to do any business with Russia. In addition to that, there's been also a cancellation of Russia has been evicted from the SWIFT system, and that means that there will be a lot of challenge in paying for any commodity that is imported from Russia as of now. So when it comes to the practical standpoint, when it comes to the policy standpoint, Nigeria has to comply with these sanctions. Also, when it comes to the practicability of any trade transaction with Russia as of now, that's almost impossible to carry out. So it would affect our trade relationship, our trade transactions with Russia, no doubt.
Now, let's look at one of the top 3 commodities Nigeria import from Russia is wheat. And as you know, that trade value, the trade relations or the value, it's worth about $2 billion. So Nigeria imported over 144 billion naira of wheat. That's the value, according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. So, but with this current situation, do you see any disruption in the supply system?
So, as at the end of 2020, I haven't seen the numbers as at the end of 2021. So, we imported about 19% of our total imports, after wheat imports from Russia. So, that means that that's almost 1/5 of what we consume in Nigeria imported from Russia. And if this kind of situation is protracted, that means that we won't have to look for other means
So, in your own opinion, what other sources, alternatives in terms of countries that we can source these materials from?
Yeah, so we have the United States. That's our largest trade partner when it comes to wheat. I guess the wheat milling, the flour milling companies in Nigeria and other companies that also utilize wheat. And by this, you also see the noodles industry. We'll have to start looking for alternatives. So alternatives such as the United States, India is another alternative, Canada is another alternative, Australia is another alternative. But then all of this will be justified by the operational and the financial implications of each of these alternatives. It appears Australia is quite far to Nigeria, so logistically might be a challenge to switch from Russia to Australia. But at the end of the day, what matters is getting the volumes. In some cases, and don't forget, if we're able to de-escalate this situation pretty quickly, we might not really have to go through some of these hassles. But then, United States is an option, India is an option, Australia is another option, Canada is another option as well. So we have a few options. The question is, how much will it cost us to switch our supplies from these countries to these countries rather?
I'm going to ask you just about 2 questions before I let you go. With what you have, how much do we consume as a nation, and how long can we sustain this without looking to other countries for supply?
Sorry, can you take that question again?
So I was asking you that as a nation, as a country, how much of this product commodity do we consume at the moment, and then how long can we sustain that within the shore of Nigeria without looking to other countries for supply?
So the truth is, wheat is probably our largest agricultural import that we bring into the country as of today.
That's the point.
And it's pretty critical to the livelihoods of a lot of people. For God's sake, wheat is a staple. It's a staple commodity. We use wheat for bread, for almost everything we consume in the confectionery space. We also use wheat for noodles, and you can imagine how important noodles have become in the diet of children, even young adults, in recent times. So it's important as a food item in the country. So second question is, how long can we then stay before we then get into probably panic mode, right?
That's right.
So that depends on the inventory levels across the companies that utilize this commodity. First of all, it's not directly utilized by households, so households don't store wheat. It's the companies that store the wheat and they keep it as inventory. So that means that if these companies have some level of inventory, and I expect that they would have started shoring up their inventory given the threat we've seen in the last 1 month. We won't be able to manage ourselves for a while. Otherwise, these companies might need to quickly ramp up purchases from other countries as well. We can't really say exactly, because the inventory level across these companies are privately held data, and they're not available to the public to see. But then one would expect that the private sector would seek maximization of its own activities. So in essence, they would store the inventories they need for a considerable period of time.
So at the moment, you are saying that there is no need for panicking or panic buying, as it were.
I honestly don't think there's any need to panic. I honestly don't think so, because these companies will typically show off their own inventory. Otherwise, they would seek alternative countries to source wheat from. What we might then see at the end of the day is these companies transferring the cost to consumers at the end of the day. So that's where we might feel the brunt. But then I think these companies will seek to optimize their own business operations rather than just allow the business operations to go to zero.
Well, I think we should leave it there. Thank you so much, Yusuf Ogumbi, Head Product Structuring and Origination, Apex Nigeria. Thank you for your time on Business Breakfast.
Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Still to come on the program, according to Trading Economics, Nigeria reports Nigeria's per capita is projected to trend around $2,400 in 2022 and $2,500 in 2023 respectively. Well, that's a talking point when we come back from this break. Please stay with us.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found a solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
Mama, you're coming to Lagos. Banga. Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes?
I have a solution for you.
Really?
Sabi cook the banga. No go enter my family.
Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga eforiro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extracts for tasty African cuisine.
Glad to have you join us now. Let's get straight now to look at the Nigeria's per capita income, focusing on earning power. But first, we cannot do that without looking at 10 African countries that offer the highest average monthly salaries according to available statistics by Business Insider Africa. 10 African countries where workers earned the highest average monthly salaries according to Salary Explorer. These average salaries were calculated using feedbacks provided by some respondents, and as such can only serve as indicators. So you have Morocco coming first with about 19,000. That's about, you have about 2,000. If you convert that, you have $2,031. South Africa is paying as high as $2,026 there. That's about 31,100 rands. You go to Kenya. Kenya has about 47,000 shillings paying its workers, and then if you convert that, that's about $1,291 out there. So Algeria, it's paying about 1,273. Namibia, with Namibian dollars, about 17,400, which you convert to 1,160. So Morocco is number one. Why Nigeria comes in the number 8 position there with average of $814, and that's about $339,000 naira per month. Ghana in number 9th position and Uganda in number 10th position. So we look at this vis-a-vis the earning power of the average Nigerian. So let's bring in our guest now, Mr. Femi Olutokun. He is the CEO, Brook Heritage Capital Limited. He joins us via the telephone now. Mr. Olutokun, we thank you for your time on the program. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Olukotun. Oh, thank you for that correction. I hope I get that correct next time. Let's get to discussing this now. Now, if you look at the ranking done by Africa Business Insider, Nigeria is coming in number 8 position there, but Morocco is number 1, and then South Africa is in 2nd position. And then, of course, you have Tunisia. These are not the biggest economies in Africa, as it were. Nigeria is the biggest economy, if I stand to be corrected. Between 2014, when the economy was rebased, Nigeria became the first or the number 1 economy in Africa. So give us your perspective, what you think about the take-home pay of the average African man, and of course, if you have to narrow it down to Nigeria, in Nigeria.
Yes, thank you. I think basically the take-home pay of an average African is a reflection of our input, because if you actually look at advanced countries of the world, you discover that the average pay, the take-home pay, is a function of the number of hours that is put into the job. And that is what determines your output. And your take-home pay is not just going to fall from heaven. It's a function of what you have actually put in. So, for example, in the Nigerian context, we have a state in Nigeria recently that is reducing the number of working days to 4. So, these are the issues. If you really want to have, want to really compare an average hand income in relation to different countries, you have to look at what are you actually putting in, because what you are putting in is what determines what you get out of it. So, I don't know whether I'm making any sense. But
yes, of course you do. But let me quickly add this one. Does it, for instance, does this have to do with the per capita income of any country? Because at the moment, Nigeria per capita income in 2022 is projected around $2,300, and then of course in 2023 $2,500 US. Does these earnings or earning power, does it have to do with the per capita income?
now, the per capita income in itself is simply your GDP vis-a-vis European populations. So, and that is, in the case of Nigeria, you find out that that is a function of the formal sector, because that is the sector that is being captured. So, if you want to look at it in the real sense, you discover that what is the size of our informal sector? Yes, in the last few years, we've seen a lot of rejigging that is actually expanding the tax net, and perhaps we have an increased formal sector. So you basically do a better justice to determine this with the per capita income, because the per capita income is, I would say, is more real compared to an average, because an average earning of an individual or probably a worker in a country, as you have put it, may not give us a true reflection of what exactly is the workings of the economy in question. Unlike when you have a GDP, which is your total income, when you have the population, which is the total number of people in there, and by the time you bring that together, you get the per capita income. So the per capita income is more of a good rebase analysis than the earning power.
Okay, let me quickly come in now. How do we translate, because in the last quarter of 2021, the GDP grew by 3.9%, even though it declined from the formal, the previous quarter of 4.03%. Of course, it's still a positive figure. How do we ensure that these figures reflect in the income of the average Nigerian?
Well, the growth rate is not being seen to affect an average Nigerian because of the size of our informal sector. The size of our informal sector is huge, and by the time an economy is growing, and a roasted plantain roaster on the streets doesn't feel what you are talking about in the real sense of it. So you see how the number of people that have been left out. So basically, there is need to actually continue to expand the informal net to actually capture all these people in there, and perhaps we'll be able to make them have a feel of this growth in the real sense. And that is why agriculture, infrastructure are being promoted, so that they can actually bring about a lot of people coming into getting an easier way of doing business. And by the time you can have that, then it makes it easier for you to actually expand your formal net and get all these people in there. Because what we really base all our analysis, especially per capital and all these things, all these big grammars that we speak from the economics and finance point of view, what really amazes an average Nigerian is that we base most of these things on regular income earners, salary earners. So we basically are not the real people, because the real people are the people of the street.
Let me quickly come in. Just a moment, Mr. Luko. The fact on ground today is that the earning power of average Nigerian is dropping, right? And if you look at some of these countries that were highlighted earlier in our introduction, you know, Morocco being the highest paying country in terms of salary, monthly salary for its workers, it's not, of course, the biggest economy in Africa. And in terms of GDP, you know, I think they're even low. So what is missing in our own case now, because there have been some projection that the inflation would go up higher in 2022, it therefore means that earning power of average Nigerian will drop. So what is missing, and how do we fix it going forward? I think we can wrap up on this note.
Yeah, but basically it's there is need for us to actually reduce the size of our informal sector, just like I've said. There is need for us to intensify and do more in the area of infrastructure, which I think probably the government is doing now. Then there is need for us to control our populations. These are what we need to put in place such that we can begin to have value for money. Because by the time we reduce our imports and we can produce more, are going to reduce rural-urban migration so that people can begin to consume what we produce. Because the 200 million population is a very huge population. If we can actually provide for ourselves, if we can actually produce what we need and reduce our imports depending. So, if you can, for example, now the exporting crude and importing petrol of PMS up to now is a very big issue. Now, subsidizing that particular PMS is another very, very big issue. Imagine a country of our size spending over 2 trillion on subsidy. That doesn't make any sense. That can be put into other areas in which will benefit an average Nigerian more than subsidizing pyramids. So these are what we need to put in place to actually have a better livelihood. We need to reduce our imports. We need to actually do more infrastructure, just as it's being done now. Yeah, we need to control our population, which is very, very important, and reduce rural migration.